So recently I got these two comments on a post that I did on TikTok, and they really, really bother me, and I want to explain why. Now, I'm not trying to like dog on these two people in particular because they seemed well-meaning and kind, but I've seen this comment a lot on my channel. I've seen it a lot on other channels, and just you kind of see it everywhere where review content is, and it bothers me every single time. I'm going to try to be Hank Green for a little bit and kind of talk about why this bothers me. And then I also really want to talk about Rotten Tomatoes, okay? I know that seems a little out of left field, but bear with me because I've been wanting to talk about this for a really long time, and it does relate. So these comments bother me for two reasons that are specific to this channel, and then one reason that's just general and kind of a broader point about art. So the first point that's specific to this channel, and probably the one that bothers me the most, is just that like this is a music review channel. Like whether or not I like it doesn't really matter. That's not the point of what I'm doing. It's not the point of what other people who are doing similar things are doing. Because as part of the music review format or the film review format or just the review format in general, you're going to review things whether or not you like them. Like something new comes out, you listen to it, you gather your opinions about it, and then you share them, negative or positive. So even though I agree with these people on a personal level of like, I'm not going to listen to something that is torturing me, it doesn't really apply to music reviewers, right? But that being said, if you don't find this type of content valuable or you don't like watching this type of content, that's totally fine. If you just want to listen to what music you enjoy and go about your life, that's great. No judgment there. But I just find it kind of silly to leave this comment on a channel that's specifically dedicated to reviewing music, good or bad. And that leads me to point number two, which is if you don't like this type of content, don't watch it. The whole don't like it, don't listen thing really applies to you, not to me. If you just want to like enjoy the music that you enjoy, then don't watch this type of content. That's totally fine. But like for the people that do enjoy this type of content and enjoy analyzing music and critiquing it, like just leave them to do it. You know, like I don't know. Like the impetus is on you to don't like it, don't listen. Don't tell me that. Heed your own advice. The third reason that this bothers me is a little bit more broad, and it's that this type of comment assumes that music is solely meant for enjoyment. And I disagree with that. I do not think that music or art is solely meant for enjoyment. Like, is enjoyment a very, very big piece of why you should listen to music or consume art? Absolutely. Maybe it's even the largest piece of why you should. But it's not the only, and it's not even close to the only reason. Because while music is absolutely a vehicle for delivering entertainment and enjoyment to people, it's also a vehicle for showcasing creativity and skill and talent and just artistry in general. So if you want to just enjoy music and that's the only thing that's important to you, that's totally fine, but you can't say that the other factors aren't also important. I think there's also a lot of value in analyzing an artist's skill, and delving into their creativity and whether or not they are creative, and analyzing how inventive the music is, or how original it is, or if they're copying other people. Like there are so many other things to consider about music than just enjoyment, and that's why I hate this type of comment. And to give the benefit of the doubt to these two people and the people that comment things like this in general, I understand that most of the time when people comment this comment, it's in the context of a video that's very hateful or is being overly critical or is being overly pretentious. And maybe I've even done that. Maybe that's why they commented it on my video. But I still don't like the comment because in my mind, at least from my perspective, maybe I'm being dramatic, it's spreading anti-intellectualism. Like it's normalizing the idea that you shouldn't think about what you're listening to at all and that it only matters whether or not you enjoy it, which I do not think is true. And I don't think you think that's true. I don't think most people think that's true. When you think about it, it doesn't really make sense. And I am definitely against those people that are being hateful and being overly critical. I don't think we should be that, but we should also be opinionated. It's okay to critique things. It's okay to provide constructive criticism to things. Maybe have not swung that balance very well. Maybe I have been overly critical, overly hateful, in my short time doing this. But I think it is okay and it is healthy to say that you dislike things. And it is good for the artist to hear that their music is bad so that they can build it off of that. So with all that being said, let's talk about Rotten Tomatoes. I know I said at the beginning of the video that it's a little out of left field, but the reason I bring it up is because I've been seeing comments like this on Rotten Tomatoes for years, for so long, and it bothers me every single time. So I follow Rotten Tomatoes on Instagram, and if you're not familiar with their Instagram, they'll usually post the initial scores when new movies come out. So like Starbucks the Movie 3 comes out, and then it'll be like Starbucks the Movie 3 has a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes with 59 reviews. If you go into the comment sections of those posts, like every single one, you'll find all these comments like, the critic score doesn't even matter. Actually, it's the audience score, which really matters. Don't listen to all those critics. I listen to the audience score. Movie critics are just pretentious. They wouldn't know a good movie from a terrible one. It's all these other silly comments, and they bother me so much for a lot of the same reasons that I've talked about so far, but also because I think it shows a crucial misunderstanding of Rotten Tomatoes and how it works. So if you're not familiar, Rotten Tomatoes is a movie review platform that serves as a review conglomerate, not a review service, but a review conglomerate. conglomerate. That's a minor difference, but it's really important. So what that means is when Starbucks the movie gets a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes, it's not saying that the movie is 67% good and then 33% bad. It's saying that 67% of the people that watched the movie thought that it was good, which is a subtle distinction, but it gives you two very different pieces of information. And then to provide more detail, it gives you an audience score, which virtually anybody can add to. It's a little bit more nuanced than that, but pretty much anybody can add to it. And then the critic score, which only certified Rotten Tomatoes critics can add to. And if you're familiar with Rotten Tomatoes, you're very familiar with this, but typically those two scores have an inverse relationship. So if the critic score is really high, the audience score is really low, and then vice versa. And there are a lot of exceptions to that. There are times when they're both, right about the same, but a lot of the time there's some disagreement between the critics and the audience. So with all that being said, what bothers me about people dissing on the audience score or dissing on the critic score is that it dismisses the fact that both of those scores have two very different purposes. Like if you're just trying to figure out whether or not a movie is generally enjoyable for most people, go to the audience score, right? Like if you actually go down and read the reviews of a lot of the audience scores, they're very simple. It's just people saying, I liked this, it was good for my family, I enjoyed it, it was fun. Just very simple things, and there's value in that. But if you really want to dive into the details and kind of decipher whether or not a movie is truly great and see where it stands against other movies and against film history and get a holistic, all-encompassing view of a movie, go to the critic score. Those are two very different perspectives that those scores are giving you. So like you can't just say that you hate one or hate the other because they're just too different. And if you personally prefer the audience score and that works best for you, that's great. Like nobody's trying to take that away from you. Enjoy the audience score, but don't diss on the critic score because it has a purpose. The reason that I'm so protective of the critic score right now is, once again, anti-intellectualism. I don't want people normalizing the idea of not being critical of things or not diving into the details of things and just saying, oh, I enjoyed this, and thinking that that's all that mattered. Because once again, criticism matters, analysis matters, and if you don't like that sort of thing and you don't find that enjoyable, that's fine, but don't try to like break it down as an institution, like it exists for a reason. Because like, do you really think that this review right here provides more value than this one? Like really? And like there are so many more examples of this that I'll like keep putting up. Like I'm sorry, but the audience scores objectively go into so much less detail. Like what are you talking about that it's better than the critic score? It's so silly. And I'm not trying to say that the audience score is dumb. It's not. Like I said, that there's a lot of value in that. But it's just, don't try to argue that like this is somehow better than the critic score, because it's not. They both serve their individual purposes. They both exist for a reason.